Good morning. So today is one of my last 2 days at work. It is currently like 6:05. I need to make myself some breakfast so I can run out because I'm pushing myself behind time. It's one of my last 2 days as a nurse extern, and low key, I want to make it my last day. So if any minute what's the word? Okay, now that I took a bite of my breakfast, the word that I was looking for was minor inconvenience. Any inconvenience that happens today, I will be like, yeah, I'm gonna resign today. I'm not gonna formally resign. Don't do what I do, kids. You know, you can do it professionally. I'm just gonna call off tomorrow. And tomorrow is my real last day. So that's the mindset I'm going in it with. I don't know if you guys can hear how shaky my voice is. Oh my gosh, that anxiety does not hide itself. Like that pre-work anxiety is really, wow. Oh my gosh, I sound I like what I do some days. But I think I can be honest when I say this. I think this will be my biggest challenge going back into the hospital once I'm an RN, because I've always heard about that pre-work anxiety and I have it now as an extern. So that's gonna be wild. Woo. Hi everyone, I'm Danielle Denise and welcome to my channel. I am a new grad nurse, not registered yet, but if you're subscribed, you'll be the first to know. Today's video is just me telling you guys all about my nurse externship experience, and I promise I will explain why I was such a ball of anxiety by my last day. But first, I just want to let you know that this video might be a long one. So if there's any question or part that you want to know about right now, like you're dying to know, there are timestamps in the description box, or if you hover over this video, when the little time bar comes across the bottom of this screen, you can just jump to the part that you're looking for. So let's get started. So before I get into the ball of anxiety that I became within my first 3 months as an extern, let me tell you what a nurse extern is. So according to my job description, under the general supervision of a registered nurse, we assist in providing direct and indirect patient care to hospital patients on generalized or specialized nursing care units by performing a variety of non-professional nursing duties. Increase knowledge of nursing practice through on-the-job training while working at an appropriate level and utilizing the nursing process up to the level which the student nurse has been taught in the professional nursing school program under the direction of a registered nurse. And it also says we may perform other duties as assigned. And with that, my school gave their own regulations for what we could do. The only restrictions my school had for us was no IV push medications and no administration of blood products. And that's pretty much it as far as that goes. But from my experience, we were mostly CNAs or patient care techs. And then luckily on my home unit in LDRP, I was basically able to buddy up with nurses some days or do other skills and activities that, that we did learn in nursing school, pretty much what the job description entailed. But I never know how to put that into words because I felt like I did a lot. And some days I was just doing patient care tech work or CNA work, which is also a lot. So much respect to CNAs. Not gonna lie, it was hard work, especially being thrown in when you think you know all the skills, but getting your own patient load. Oh, I gotta talk about that later. Just in case I don't talk about it later, I just want to say that CNAs, I have so much respect for you. And when I am a nurse, if I do choose a position that has CNAs available for me to delegate work to, I respect you so much, and I will never give you more than you can handle. Please let me know, my future CNAs or patient care techs, let me know if something is too much. Also, if I'm in the room and I can get the vitals, I will get the vitals myself. I can do it. I know how to do them. I can do it. If I'm ever super busy and just need to chart, I get it. You got them, you got me. But if I'm able to, I will. If I'm in the room and the patient needs to be changed, I'm not just going to call you up and just leave. I'll do it. Like, I got it. No, like, not saying that to judge any nurses that do that, but like, I understand how busy a CNA can be. And that's just what I gotta say about that. Okay, that's all. So sorry I got sidetracked, but let me tell you what the nurse externship kind of turned into. So starting out, I was simply on my regular unit, LDRP, and my job responsibilities were being a lobby screener. So in the lobby, I would screen any incoming patients. If they were OB patients, just deciding where did they need to go, if they needed to go to triage, if they just needed to see the birth clerk or something, and screening them for COVID or anything. And then regular hospital patients, screening them for COVID, making sure they don't have any symptoms or any previous or recent exposure to COVID. If I was in triage, just helping out the secretary, running, grabbing things, helping out, starting IVs. If I was in labor and delivery, I was usually with a seconding nurse, and we got to weigh the baby, first assessments, all of that. If I was ever partnered with the laboring nurse, I just followed her everywhere, helped with charting or marking things down and writing things down that she needed, helped with positioning mom as she's laboring, all of that. Postpartum, that's when I was doing most of my work, or where I usually was. I was doing 24-hour checks, so baby's first bath, jaundice screenings, oxygen checks, and we started out doing PKUs, and then we didn't, and then, yeah, vitals, mom and baby, and charting and discharge paperwork, and going over that with mom, discharging moms, teachings with the nurse, you know, all of that. So that's kind of what it started off as. Basically, my day revolved around those 24-hour checks that I had, and anything else that I had to do, I kind of just fit it in between. And luckily, in LDRP or the mother-baby unit, they're used to not having help, so they're used to doing total care. So having us was like an added bonus for them, and it was a bonus for us that they already do total care. So like, if there was ever a time where we had downtime, which is rarely ever, they would kind of pull us in to help out or learn something new, and that was really fun. But then I started getting floated. You know what? I'm gonna save the floating stories for the end, because we won't even get to pay and all the other stuff if I do that now. But let me tell you where I went so you can hold on to this. I have gone to ICU, to telemetry, to med surg, to ED, to observation, to where else have I gone? Only place I don't think I went was CVICU and surgical services. Anywho, moving on. So how much did we get paid? So I have learned that there are some externs at other hospitals that didn't get paid anything at all. And then there are hospitals like Kaiser and Cedars-Sinai who paid people $40 an hour, which made a lot of RNs very upset because some new grads sign on for $40. Me, I got paid somewhere in between. Let's say $20. And that differed based on if you were on day shift or night shift, and if you worked weekends. So if you want to know what my schedule was like, basically like a nurse, 3/12s. They were rough. They were rough when I was first adjusting, and especially because my first adjustment, I started at the end of a pay period. So I worked the last 2 days of a pay period. I then had to go to clinical like that Friday, and then I came back at the beginning of the pay period, which started on Sunday, and worked 3 more days. So I had worked like 3 days in a row, maybe gave myself a break because I swapped shifts with someone, like a 1-day break. And then luckily I got like 4 or 5 days off, but then I was back on. And let me tell you something, don't ever do that. I don't know how some nurses do it, but like, yes, they make good money, but you will hear me say this a lot. I will not stress myself out over a coin. Nope. One, I was just adjusting to 12-hour shifts, like true 12-hour shifts, and I was still in a full schedule of school. That was my last week of my like full load semester. I know you guys really want a video on my thoughts and opinions on working during school, so I'll talk about it right here. For me personally, it took some adjusting. I didn't get the handle on it, and I probably still don't really have a handle on it until the next semester when I had a smaller class load. 312s and being in school full time, personally not for me, but people do it. I don't know how, because after those 12-hour shifts, the next day to 2 days, I'm out of it. Like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be anything. I'm emotionally drained. I'm physically drained. My body hurts. I just need time to rest and recover, and I need self-care. I'm already stressed enough as it is. I don't want to add more stress. It takes years off of your life. I'm not doing that. No. And then on top of that, there's that anxiety that you saw in the video, in that first clip. I'll try to wrap it up like this. I didn't start feeling that anxiety until I started floating. The thing about floating for me is I never knew I was floating until I got there. And then I didn't know where I was going until that moment. Like, you show up in the morning expecting a certain day for work, and you try to prep yourself for those days, and it's not what you think. I was new to actually working full time again, new to working in the hospital setting full time. Like, I get people say you should be a CNA before becoming a nurse, and obviously I've had the chance to do that, and you guys hear like now my opinions towards that. As I said it in the beginning, how I feel towards CNAs, like I appreciate them so much, but it is hard work, and I've done it now. I get it. Yeah, my experience as a CNA, like the first time I did it, I think they gave me about 12 to 14 patients. They just briefly told me, like, usually CNAs don't get this many patients. We're just swamped right now. And there were just like 2 of us to the floor. So new admits, we were just jumping back to back. This is my first time being a CNA. Didn't really have the time management. Honey, I was crying in the bathroom. And then the next time I was on that unit, I think they gave me like 8 to 10 patients. And I was like, this feels a lot easier. Things got easier. I had a rhythm. I knew what I was doing. And then I went to telemetry. They gave me my own patient run, and I think I had about the same amount. The next time, I think they gave me about 6 to 8, and they told me a CNA isn't supposed to have that many, or that's a lot. And I was like, well, how is this a lot? When the first day I was a CNA, I had like 50 patients. Like, it felt like 50. I mean, it was 12 to 14. And then, like, depending on who was admitted or discharged, the number went up or down from there. But I was like, so I wasn't crazy that first day, is what you're telling me. Okay. And just those moments. And then the moments where, you know, certain people, certain staff members, they treat you poorly or look down on you. And it's just like, why are people treating people that way? Like, not even if it was just me. Like, I'm nice to anybody, any and everybody. I don't care what your position is at the hospital. In or out of that hospital, you are important. At the end of the day, you are a person who deserves to be treated with respect. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked as well. But another story. I sat on my lunch break with a couple of like seasoned CNAs. Like, they're much older. They're commending me for being so open-minded and being willing to learn, and they were even telling me how much I've improved and how much they've seen me grow just in their role while I've been on the floor in different units when they see me. But they were sharing their experience with like other CNAs who treated them poorly when they first came to that hospital. And it's just like, what is the deal with people? Like, I don't understand. That's where the anxiety comes from. Just dynamics in the hospital and floating and never knowing where I'm going, or all of those things. It became a lot, you know? The last thing I want to get into, thanks for listening to me vent. I know this video is going to be minutes and minutes and minutes, dang near an hour long if I don't edit it down right. But I just want to get into the questions that you guys asked me. So one of the questions that I got was, what has the externship taught me overall? I will say it taught me to follow through. I started calling out a lot towards the end, but I said, you know what? I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to finish this out and I'm going to go all the way through. I really did learn the role of a CNA or patient care tech. All the points that I hit in the beginning of this video or throughout this video still stand. I learned like what I can delegate, how much I should delegate. Like I talked about in the beginning, like dear future CNA, whoever I have, my mental health worker, if I end up in mental health, let me know when too much is too much. Like, I will be there for you. I am your backbone as much as you are mine. I learned the tips and tricks of a CNA. Like, I think I can move so much faster now. So like, if I'm ever without a CNA, I think I can handle it by myself. I think I can. When I was paired with a nurse or doing more nursing tasks, I think I got a better understanding of the plan of care. When I was paired with these nurses, because we already had like a co-worker relationship, made things so much easier. Like, they'll pull you in. They help you out with like anything. If you want to learn something, or if they think you want to learn something, they will call you in there. If they're gonna do something cool or have an interesting patient, they're open to sharing like that patient's case with you and like helping you think through like their thought process with them, and it becomes really great. My favorite day was seconding with the secondary transport nurse for labor and delivery. So they just come in and assess the baby as soon as they come out, weigh them, do all their measurements. And I was like, oh, my measurements are going to be the official measurements for this baby. Like, this is the real deal. And also coming into the externship during a pandemic, especially during that second wave, it was intense because also getting floated, as you guys know, I was getting coughed in the face by COVID patients. Like, had I not had that vaccine, honey, I don't know. Like, I feel like I would have had it. But just the energy outside of LDRP versus when I was there, like LDRP is definitely in their own like bubble. And the energy outside of that unit was just, it was heavy. Like, man, like not only was it just new for me, I had, I guess, heavy patient loads, I could say, but just the energy, the overall like stress. Like, these nurses have been at it for almost a year at that point. It's been a year now, but it was a lot. And then like, you'd have to hear experiences from my friends, but I don't know how you would unless I brought them on. Sorry about that. But it was, it has not been a good time. So anything that anybody has to say about the room outside of the hospital compared to what I saw and what I've seen, I don't, you want me to believe you or my eyes? Like, I really do commend the nurses and every single staff member in the hospital. Like, my golly, that's some tough stuff. You know what? I'm going to make a note to do like an entire video on working in the hospital during a pandemic, because I don't think people get it enough. Like, in my personal experience being a student who still had the opportunity to go to the hospital during that time, and then on top of that have an externship and like an actual role to maintain, in wild times. And lastly, what my externship taught me, it taught me more about myself, like my character, what I want from nursing, what I want from life, really. Taught me to be more courageous, to speak up for myself, because I'm really nice, sometimes to a fault. Like, and I give people too many chances, and I can be too kind and all of those things, but there's a part of me that wants to speak up, and I never do sometimes. I never do, and I will let people walk all over me, but that has to stop. Has to stop. I'm not letting that happen anymore. Okay, I'm 25. I remember somebody in my comments one day, they're like, you're 25, you don't know shit. I was like, okay, you're mad. The last thing I want you guys to know, I just want to say that if you've been a CNA before, your transition to externing might be a lot smoother. But if you haven't been a CNA or patient care tech before, or like medical assistant or something, there might be a learning curve, but just know that you can do it. You got this. Believe in yourself. You know, you'll improve. It'll come, and nobody can ever tell you that you weren't a CNA before because you'll get that experience. So the next question I got is, has this externship helped me get any job offers? And well, your girl has her interview tomorrow, or present day today as you're watching this, for LDRP. And then I think I will have another interview for another unit that I asked to try. But as you guys know, I've been on the fence between sticking with psych or sticking with LDRP, and we're gonna see. But just know, if you ever sign up for an externship or like a traditional clinical residency, this is your time to shine. Like, put yourself out there, market yourself, make those relationships, not negotiate, but network. Your foot is already in the door. Make those connections, honey. Make that good impression. This could be your opportunity. Like, if you really like your unit, this could be your chance. And personally, on my unit, there are nurses who stayed and their externship was 15 years ago and they're still there. So, hey, this could be something. The next question I got is, how did I get the job? I keep pointing to the wrong corner. My bad. It's usually in this corner. I talked about it briefly in my first externship video, which will be left up above. The hospital reached out to our directors, and basically not everybody had clinical residencies, like traditional residencies. So everybody who was left, they were offered the opportunity of becoming nurse externs. I was just gonna do COVID contact tracing at home, but my program director was like, hey girl, we got this opportunity. If you want to take it, you got to apply tonight. And I was like, okay. But you guys did ask me, what tips do I have to actually get a position like this? Although this opportunity was presented to me, from what I've been hearing from people at other hospitals as well as my own, because some of these hospitals are looking to keep externs or restart their extern programs, and what they're looking for, I've heard a few things. So just make sure you keep your cover letter up to date. Make sure you keep those specific to each hospital you apply to. If not, you can keep it pretty general, but like swap out names and stuff. Make sure your resume is up to date. Any major skills you were checked off on in school, make sure you include those in the skills section of your resume. Be ready to market and network if you're ever at a hospital that already has a clinical residency or externship and you're there for regular clinicals. You can try to do that. Once you get the position, in order to get a job as an RN or a job offer or something like that, from what I've heard from other people who have managed to get their first job that way, they network, they build relationships with the other nurses, not like friendships like, hey, let's go drink after work, but like positive coworker, like status relationships. Make sure you're talking to your nurse manager. Make sure they know your face, they know who you are. Make a good impression, be on your A game. If you make mistakes, that's okay. Just be willing to show that you can improve and that you're willing to learn. Just be a great version of you. Be a great nurse. Be the nurse that you would want to have. Definitely be a sponge, because once you got your foot in the door, honey, most of the work is done. And on that note, that is all that I have about my externship. I hope this video was helpful. I want to thank you so much for watching. Coming into an externship during a pandemic was hard, but I'm so grateful I took that opportunity and that I did it instead of staying at home and just doing COVID contact tracing. I'm so grateful for this experience. The highlights made the rough days not as hard to digest. I'm just grateful for the opportunity, and it was a great one. So thank you so much for watching again, and make sure that you are subscribed and that you don't miss my next upload by turning on that notification bell, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.